Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So take a look at this. A whopping 9% of Bitcoin supply last moved at 16,500. Clearly, this is the level where not just retail, but likely institutions were buying. Well, 9% of the supply moved over here. This is a chart, Bitcoin UTXO realized price distribution. We've got the closing price here in gray and the amount of Bitcoin that did move. And you guys can see that very tall orange bar there. That is in and around 16,005. So on the bottom axis down here, you can see the prices. And so 9%, that is a huge amount. James V. Stratton down here also posting this with regards to Bitcoin supply. You can see the breakdown of cohorts here. Over 50% of the supply bought at these ranges were from whales. So giving us some more insight on who is buying the supply. Clearly, when we look at the Bitcoin chart, we can see that this was a very, very obvious level of support down in and around 16.5. Let me just throw a horizontal line right on there, and that would bring us right in around here, 16.5, basing in this zone where we saw it form a nice base there, dip down in here, and was forming a inverted head and shoulders pattern here before it broke out above that level. I mean, of course, we did see Bitcoin dip down into these levels, especially after the FTX fiasco. Panic mode did kick in, but 16,005 holding that level of support. Now we're trading at about roughly 23,000 per coin. So Bitcoin has made some significant gains. Taking a look at the trend on the 1 hour chart, you guys can see Bitcoin rallying upward. We did see a bit of a dip down here, making a lower low on the micro time frame. But unless you're day trading, this kind of thing doesn't really matter. Overall, throughout the latter half of yesterday, we did see the Bitcoin trend continue to rally upward. So ultimately, we do need to break this new micro level of resistance, which is 23,300. Bringing it back on the daily chart, we really do need to get above 32.4. That would be a real nice treat for Bitcoin holders, for the rest of the crypto space. I'm sure if we did see Bitcoin break through this former resistance level formed back in May of 2022, I think that would get a lot of traders excited. Still a ways to go before we get there, though. Bringing up XRP here real quickly. XRP trading at 42.2. So XRP's been fairly robust as well. We did see it go up as high as 43.2 yesterday. It's just kind of been vacillating in this zone over here. But 42.2 right now for XRP. Now, it's great having all this information because we don't have to rely on jokers like this. Jim Cramer's Mad Money chart suggests investors should ignore crypto cheerleaders and stick with gold. He just said this yesterday. So I have a clip here. I'm not going to play you guys the clip, but just to kind of give you the takeaway, Jim Cramer on Monday warned investors to stay away from crypto despite Bitcoin's recent gains and instead look to gold. Bitcoin, the world's top cryptocurrency, continued to gain on Monday as investors continued to bet that the Federal Reserve will ease its pace of interest rate cuts or stop them altogether. So Jim Cramer has now again gone on the record and said, stay away from that nasty crypto stuff and, just put your money in gold. The charts, as interpreted by Carly Garner, suggest you need to ignore the crypto cheerleaders now that Bitcoin is bouncing. And if you seriously want a real hedge against inflation or economic chaos, she says you should stick with gold. Now, I've always been of the opinion that you're never really going to get rich on gold or silver, but he does bring up a good point. Hedging against the system, the fiat, the printing press, fiat is becoming worthless. So I am a proponent of purchasing gold and silver, but not to get rich, just as a bit of a hedge. You're never going to get rich from gold and silver. I mean, that's unless something completely shocking happens and fiats go to zero literally, and all we have left is gold and silver and other precious metals. So a bit of a confusing comment here. Although it does ring somewhat truthful, I would not be investing in gold instead of cryptocurrency if you do, in fact, want to get rich. So again, to the point of the inverse Kramer indicator, we've also got Stock Money Lizards here on Twitter posting this textbook Wyckoff accumulation. So we know what Wyckoff looks like. We know the phase A, B, C, D, and E. And, what we are witnessing here right now on the crypto chart, whether it's Bitcoin or the total crypto market here, let me zoom out again here on the Bitcoin chart, what we are witnessing is, in fact, that Wyckoff accumulation pattern, right? We're trying to move up towards resistance right in and around here, the phase D of this, before we come back down, base back down here, and then blast off into the phase E. So, an interesting look at what crypto has been delivering us as of late. Bringing up the total crypto market cap real quickly here. Total crypto market also looking very robust. So market looking very healthy for cryptocurrencies. Of course, traders are now buying up other altcoins because Bitcoin is rallying. Bitcoin dominance is also going higher, right? Just a real quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. You guys can see Bitcoin dominance over here at 44.07%. So did kind of decrease a little bit, but I think it's we're still a ways away before Bitcoin loses dominance over altcoins. Gonna keep moving because we've got some other interesting news here. Nayib Bukele, we haven't really heard much from the president of El Salvador recently, but he just came out and said this. In the past year, almost every legacy international news outlet said that because of our Bitcoin bet, El Salvador was going to default on its debt by January of 2023. Since we had an $800 million bond mature today, literally hundreds of articles, he went on to say, they all said that without striking an IMF deal, we were going to be unable to pay our 2023 bond because our Bitcoin losses. And I have receipts of all the articles that came out and claimed this. And he posts a bunch of articles, one from the Washington Post, the New York Times, a couple more notable ones, full page spreads on the New York Times and all, creating the narrative that El Salvador was broke and going to default. I called them out all the time, but of course, who was going to believe us? And not every international news outlet and their economic geniuses. So just another news outlet here. This was a post from July of 2022. Since when the New York Times has devoted so much time and space to El Salvador's economic initiatives. So guys, just stoking the negative narrative. The negative Bitcoin narrative, this is what the powers that be want to control. They want to control our perception on which cryptocurrencies they perceive as beneficial for us and which cryptocurrencies they want us to stay away from. Obviously, Bitcoin, one of those. Nayib Bukele finishes this off by saying, well, we just paid in full $800 million plus interest. But of course, almost nobody is covering that story. I just found one in Spanish from Colombia, and he links that article there. They lie and lie and lie, and when their lies are exposed, they go on silence mode. So there you have it, and even CZ Binance giving him the thumbs up here. There is no doubt that when resources are well managed, El Salvador meets its financial obligations. This is coming from Evelyn Merlos here. She works for, the El Salvadorian government. Thank you, President, for your responsibility and leadership. This is because you truly are a great president, and your leadership is helping a big deal. Coming from George Castro here on Twitter. Also looks like he is an El Salvadorian citizen. Here we have it, Nayib Bukele coming out on Twitter saying they are paying their debts, going against the traditional narrative. Bitcoin is bad, wanting you to get out of cryptocurrency for obvious reasons. I'm going to keep moving, guys, because there's also some FUD that I want to address. This coming up recently, this was from an older article, but I noticed it was making the rounds. Spiritual here saying, any thoughts on this? I saw a seemingly random Saudi account with 27,000 followers announcing news with no article. Anything is possible in crypto and in general. So this was an article here, and then they were saying this, okay, here in black and white, Ripple did pay companies to use XRP. Now, this was in the early days, and let me just read you guys some of this. Ripple paid MGI, which is MoneyGram, significant amounts to use ODL, or as per David Schwartz, as he described it, to suffer the product. Then over here, it says what the defendants omit is that most of the hundreds of customers that have used Ripple products, two platforms at that time, XVIA and XCurrent, that are essentially messaging services, do not use XRP, and that in any event yielded only $21.9 million in revenue. So accusations that Ripple was actually paying customers to use XRP. Utility down here addressing this. Due to dishonesty or incompetency, misquoted the sources provided. There's a big difference between paying companies to say they used XRP versus what the article actually means, which said they paid MGI to use ODL, or on-demand liquidity. Paying MGI to say they used XRP is deception by Ripple. He goes on to say, number 2 is down here. So the question is now, why would Ripple pay a company to use XRP? It is my understanding that getting companies to trust new technology is extremely difficult, especially considering that this technology directly impacts MGI's business, that being remittances. So let's not forget, this was in the early days when companies were still very apprehensive to adopt new technology. Ripple has publicly stated that one of their goals has been to make XRP as liquid as a G10 currency. So let's also not forget that. Liquidity is the key factor here, and Ripple is working to do just that. So how do you increase liquidity with companies that are hesitant to risk the new tech? You essentially create a paid beta test. This serves Ripple's goals of increasing liquidity, but more importantly, allows them to further refine ODL transfers through RippleNet. Considering that MGI migrated to XLM after the lawsuit, it's logical to assume they were pleased with the advantages of using digital assets. So a little hint there. MGI didn't just dump DLT technology altogether. After the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit took place, what they did was they shifted gears and they moved on to XLM or Stellar. So obviously they saw the benefits there. He goes on by saying, it's for my above stated reason, be it correct or incorrect, that I am able to dismiss this FUD. So again, guys, more FUD is coming out. Actually, I probably should say more FUD is resurfacing because this is old recycled FUD that might confuse people who have, not been in this space for as long. Tom Emmer here also coming out, though, and this is a silver lining, right? We know crypto is here to stay, and we know that these guys are working hard to create a meaningful regulatory framework for cryptocurrency in the US. Tom Emmer posting this: I will keep advocating for crypto policies that advance crypto innovation and adoption in the United States because crypto is more than a financial investment. It's about restoring liberty and choice to individuals. So Tom Emmer, on the right side of this, just 2 letters, that was the tweet, GM, tweeted out by Representative Tom Emmer on December the 6th, 2021, instantly endearing himself to crypto Twitter. For those unaware, GM is short for good morning and was widely used as a cheery greeting during the bull run. Good morning or good night in something of an inside joke. And now Tom Emmer, part of the community, or has been now since December of 21. He is bullish on crypto, but why is he so bullish on crypto? It's not about crypto, says Emmer, clarifying that it's about what crypto is facilitating. And so I think that this is what a lot of these lawmakers fail to realize, or rather decide to be ignorant about because of vested interests or whoever's paying them or whatever. Not suggesting it's all of them, but I'm sure it is a few. The movement towards Web3, or what he prefers to call the ownership economy, that goes to everything I believe in, he says, which is restoring the individual's right to make his or her decisions about what they want to do in the marketplace, or who they want to do it with, or how they want to get that done. And they don't have to have a middleman. Ultimately, this is about restoring liberty and choice to individuals. So Tom Emmer, a cryptocurrency proponent, understands how this is going to benefit technological advancements and industry and development and the economy even in the United States, because a lot of these developers reside in the United States. So it's not just good for the bottom line for the end user, it's also good for industry. So just wanted to thank him for posting that. Also wanted to give you guys a bit of a heads up here. If you are using the Kraken exchange, XRP Palm Mom here on Twitter posted this. Look, I've had this account around 4 years, tried to put USD on it, then sent them more info as well as they requested. And guys, here was their response. Thank you for your patience. Unfortunately, we must inform you that we will be closing your Kraken account for security purposes. We cannot disclose the reasons for this action. Your recent ACH transfers via Plaid have been canceled. These transactions will not be processed from our side, and your bank account will not be debited. Kindly note that you can no longer use our services. We appreciate your understanding. That is very disconcerting. Kraken support, obviously, as soon as XRP Palm Mom posted this, they did respond to this thread. Hi there, we understand how you feel due to the circumstance. We certainly can look into this for you. If you could, please DM us your ticket number. So, it's looking a little dicey out there. These crypto exchanges are probably under a lot of pressure, and we got to be careful. We don't know which one could default next, and, we think we are in a secure environment with regards to cryptocurrency. Having used these exchanges myself for over 5 years, I feel like, there should be some sort of certainty with regards to that. You've been loyal and, they've been loyal. They've been doing what they've said they've been doing. And then all of a sudden one day, boom, your cryptocurrency is lost. You can't get it off the exchange or whatever reason. I know there's a recent story about CoinField, and I don't know how many of you guys use CoinField, but CoinField is another one where people are having some headaches, can't get their cryptocurrency off that particular exchange. But this just seems like it's out of the blue, really. And again, another good reason to purchase a cold storage solution like a Ledger Nano or something similar. I do have an affiliate link in the description. You can use it if you want. You don't have to use it. But again, guys, just be careful where you are putting your cryptocurrency because we just don't know. Genesis is another company that went bust. And apparently, Jed McCaleb's Stellar, well, they lent money to Genesis. Crypto billionaire, Ripple founder Jed McCaleb's nonprofit lent money to Genesis, crypto lending firm Genesis filed for bankruptcy. And in the new filings, it was revealed that Genesis owes its largest 50 creditors about $3.4 billion. Yeah, that's billion with a B. One of those creditors is the Stellar Development Foundation, an organization affiliated with the Stellar blockchain and its Lumens cryptocurrency. Jen McCaleb was one of the original founders back in 2014. Genesis owes the Stellar Development Foundation about $13.2 million, according to the bankruptcy filing. The foundation, which describes itself as a nonprofit organization, is Genesis's 42nd largest creditor. And a spokesperson for Stellar said in an email to Forbes that the organization extended a limited series of loans in 2022 to Genesis's institutional lending desk. The outstanding claim represents an immaterial portion of our overall treasury and does not impact our operations in any way. So $13.2 million for some of these large companies is chump change. I mean, you got to think these companies are worth billions upon billions of dollars. Ripple definitely worth over 10 billion, and I'm sure Stellar is probably somewhere in the billions as well. So let's not be fooled, but let's keep an eye on who has invested in who. This is all very important moving forward in crypto because, it is still a fairly small industry and, it's like a small town. People talk. It is beneficial, though, that we're still seeing great news coming out with regards to development. This has to do with the Algorand Foundation, guys. IBF Net launches Netverse on the Algorand blockchain. So we're hearing of a new metaverse world coming out of Indonesia. This company is IBF. They just launched on the Algorand blockchain in order to support digitalization in the Islamic world. Netverse is a Sharia-compliant metaverse that comprises of Netversity project, which offers several courses that can be pursued by anyone, anywhere. According to the official press release, the new metaverse launch on the Algorand blockchain comes in the context of emerging Web3 technologies and the observed performance of millennials to interact and transact in the digital and virtual space. So down here it says they're focusing on organic growth. This network incorporates a portfolio of platforms on the blockchain in sectors such as philanthropy, nonprofit, and for-profit, which makes up a miniature Islamic economy. So this is interesting because it's not just going to be, as we keep saying, it's not going to be one cryptocurrency that rules them all. It's also not going to be one metaverse that rules them all. And some are already saying that the metaverse is going to fail. But I think in segmented ways, in pockets, we could see the metaverse really thrive. And I think that once they find the way that they're going to implement this, they could tap into it and it could be really big one day. This one specifically, Sharia law compliant. So specifically for the Islamic community, nevertheless, more blockchain development on the Algorand blockchain, which means more value will be driven to the Algo token. So I thought that was some interesting news as well. I wanted to bring you guys to this, though, from DJ Peter Vass. Times of India brings the latest and top breaking news. And now they're talking about cashless payments in India. If you guys remember, a few years ago, it was about 5 years ago now, Ashish Burla from Ripple, he commented that Ripple already had 50% of India at that time, and they were looking to focus on India's biggest banks. Well, now India exceeds combined cashless payments of US, UK, Germany, and France. India has emerged as a leader in the creation of digital assets, while other developed countries are facing problems. After demonetization, the digital payment landscape in India has been transformed. The Union Minister, Ashwini Vaishnaw, he was at the World Economic Forum's conference last week, and he was talking about India. There was a video that was going around. The video is up here, but I also found it on YouTube because I found this interface a little sketchy. And so here it is.
Find the 4, multiply by 4. It's more than that.
Now I'm going to mute this and read you guys the subtitles just because I'm not sure if this video has copyright on the music. World takes note of India's rise as a digital leader. And you guys can see some of those logos there. Some were Ripple partners. Country leaps ahead in digital payments. It says down here, India ahead of US, UK, Germany, France combined.
We saw the opportunity on top of UPI. In fact, I used the UPI example in other countries around the world.
Just to give you guys some context here, makers of India's UPI app is bringing Ripple technology to India. So this was back from July of 2017. UPI has been Ripple integrated for a very long time. So understanding this context helps us understand where Ripple is going in India specifically. Here we have Ashwini Vaishnaw. He highlights India's might at the WEF. Digital India initiative has helped the country achieve unparalleled heights in the IT sector. As you guys can see, goes on to say India is way ahead of in terms of UPI systems, which has proved to be a big boon for the country. There you go. There's the UPI logo. And then they say, notably, India's digital transactions in 2022 were more than the combined digital payments of 4 big economies. The country has surpassed 4 major developed nations, the US, UK, Germany, and France, collectively. So all the payments that are actually going through UPI in India are larger than the biggest economies, 4 biggest major developed economies. India's IT minister, Vaishna, he highlighted the country's growing digital might at the World Economic Forum. And guys, here's the clip of Vaishna.
In last December 2022, the digital payment transactions amounted to $1.5 trillion annualized basis. And that is, if you compare the total of US digital transactions, UK, Germany, France, combine the 4, multiply by 4. It's more than that.
So it is more than that. After demonetization, the digital payment landscape in India has been transformed. So they're stating it right here, guys. The digital landscape in India has been transformed. UPI has been big on helping this happen. We've also got PhonePe and Paytm, 2 companies that also have ties to Ripple, like through this Moja Loop connection. PhonePe, Ripple have joined the Moja Loop Foundation as sponsor members. This was from back in September of 2020. So both part of that organization. Also, if you guys remember, also from 2020, this blog post by Navin Gupta on Ripple's Insights blog, enabling global real-time payments everywhere to everyone. And if I just go down here real quickly, you guys can see in this paragraph, changing the way the game is played. Southeast Asia has become a hotbed for fintech innovation. Among the region's most notable startups include cashless payments and mobile wallets such as GrabPay, GoPay, and Paytm. So Paytm also listed here on Ripple's Insights blog, which compete against the likes of established global incumbents such as Western Union and Apple Pay. And I believe there's also another connection with Paytm and Ripple as well. I mean, all to say that India, a huge user of RippleNet, and at the conference last week, here we have it, Ashwini Vaishna stating that transactions are now bigger than 4 of the largest developed countries' economies combined. All value that's running through the XRPL, or will be once more integration has been established. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.